Looks like the BMW's in the holiday spirit. The dashboard is lit up like a Christmas tree. Actually, it's been like this for a while. But today we're going to start doing something about it. Okay, before we start, let me give you guys a breakdown of these warning lights and what I think is causing them. First of all, these two along the top, those are just because the engine is off, so don't worry about those. They'll go away when I turn the engine on. Next is the seatbelt warning light. That warning light is on because, well, there's no passenger seat and there's no passenger seat belt. There really isn't much I can do about that one right now, so I'm not going to worry about it. Moving on. Next is the brake light and the ABS light. Now, recently I had to replace the instrument cluster because the old one died. And for some reason, I guess that made the ABS module unhappy. Or at least that's what I was told. Apparently the ABS module and the instrument cluster talk to each other for some reason. And there is some sort of calibration that needs to be done. I'm going to try to do that today. And hopefully that'll clear that up. Next one. This is for the windshield washer bottle. I deleted that, so the washer level sensor is not connected, and that's what's causing that warning light. That's actually going to be an easy fix, so we're going to do that today. Last but not least is the check engine light. I think this is self-inflicted. First of all, I deleted the downstream O2 sensors, so of course those are going to cause trouble codes. Also, when I was working on the engine recently, I disconnected a couple sensors, and I think that triggered some trouble codes too. So hopefully by the end of the day, we can address this too. Anyway, let's get started with the windshield washer because that's going to be super easy. Like I mentioned earlier, I deleted the windshield washer bottle. So, of course, the washer level sensor is not connected, and that's what's causing that light on the dash. This is the connector. It's a 2-wire connector. The one wire is brown with a green stripe. The other wire is brown with a black stripe. Now, I was told if you take these two wires and connect them together, it'll fool it into thinking that the washer tank is full. So I'm going to take this jumper wire and connect them together and see what happens. Alright, I've got my jumper wire installed. This is just a temporary thing to make sure this actually is going to work. If it does work, then I can do something more permanent. Anyway, let's get in the car, turn the key, and see what happens. Hey, it worked. Awesome. So I'll permanently connect those two wires together, and that'll take care of that. And then we will move on to the next thing. Okay, that was easy. I just cut the connector off the end of the wires, and then I connected them both together with the terminal. Also, I put some dielectric grease inside there to help prevent corrosion. Okay, so that's one warning light down and a bunch more to go. Next, I'm going to try to deal with the brake warning light and the ABS warning light. Like I mentioned earlier, that's because I replaced the instrument cluster, and apparently the ABS module and the instrument cluster don't want to play nicey-nice now. So I have to do some kind of recalibration routine. In order to do that, I'm going to need a laptop computer, which ironically is in my lap, and a couple OBD cables. This one is just a standard USB to OBD cable. It has a switch on it that allows you to connect or disconnect pin 7 to pin 8. On the E46 BMW, you want the pin 7 and 8 to be connected together. So having that switch is pretty useful. This cable will be used for INPA or INPA, however you want to call it, or the more generically known as the BMW Standard Tools software. We're also going to need this cable. This one is specific to PASoft BMW scanner. We're going to need that software too. Alright, let's have some fun with the laptop. By the way, I forgot to mention that the instrument cluster and the light control module also need to be synchronized with each other. You see, the headlight switch is not just a switch, it actually has a computer chip in it that stores some information regarding the car. And the instrument cluster stores some of that same information. And if they don't agree with each other, they get unhappy. So what I need to do is, since I replaced the instrument cluster, I need to copy that information from the light control module to the instrument cluster. To do that, I'm going to use my laptop computer with the BMW scanner software. Okay, so I've got the PASoft BMW scanner started up. I have the BMW scanner cable connected to the OBD port. Now in the software, we're going to select IKE, which stands for Instrument Cluster in German, apparently. Now we're going to select Programming. We're going to copy the ZCS FA coding, whatever that means. We'll select EWS to IKE because we want to take that coding from the other module and put it into the IKE. Alright, and we're done with that. There was another step they told me to do, which was to go back into reprogramming, write the ADFG, and then I'm supposed to type in 00 and the last 4 digits of the VIN number. Okay, and that should be it for that. Okay, so we're done with BMW scanner. Next, we're going to switch over to INPA or INPA, depending on how you want to call it, and we'll deal with the ABS. By the way, this is the thread in the E46 Fanatics forum where they explained how to do all this. Thankfully, there's a member on the forum, he goes by the username The Fixer. He explained all this stuff in great detail, which is great because I never would have figured this out on my own. So big thanks to that guy for posting this stuff. Okay, so now I started up INPA or INPA, depending on how you want to call it. We're going to hit F3 for the E46. And I think we select chassis. Now I'm going to select DSC Mark 60. That's the ABS module. And then it does this goofy stuff because this software is kind of clunky. Now I'm going to select F6 for activate. Compensation routines, which is F3. Okay, I'm going to do both of these compensation routines just to be safe. I'll do that one first, which is F2. Stuff is happening on the dash. Okay. Now we'll do F3. More stuff happening on the dash. And I think now we need to exit, which is F10. Now I'm going to exit the software. And I'm going to cycle the key off and back on. Okay, well that didn't fix the problem. We'll have to keep looking into that. Hey, check it out. I got rid of the warning light for the seat belts, which was over here. Let me show you how I did that. I went into the PASoft BMW scanner. We're going to double click on IKE, which is the instrument cluster. Now we're going to go into coding data. We'll do recoding. And now it gives you a whole bunch of options. But the ones we're looking at are right up here. Belt lock contact and belt lock signal via K-bus. I unchecked both of them. So now it doesn't even pay attention to whether or not the seat belts are even existing, which is what I need. Because after all, that seat belt is gone. So yeah, that's cool. Anyway, continuing on. Okay, now we're going to move on to the check engine light. There are some trouble codes that are caused by things that I deleted, like the downstream O2 sensors and the secondary air pump. It just so happens that some European versions of the E46 came from the factory with no downstream O2 sensors and no secondary air pump. And the code for the ECM reflects that. So I'm going to install the tune from one of those European cars onto my car, and that should get rid of that check engine light. To do that, I'm going to use the generic OBD2 cable, and I'm going to use a program that's part of the BMW standard tools kit. It's called WinKFP. So we're going to go to comfort mode, which I think is ironic because this software is definitely not comfortable to use. We're going to choose a ZUSB. What that acronym stands for, I have no idea. We're going to pick the ECU family. Which is MS43. Now here's the fun part. All these ZB numbers, those are different tunes for the ECM. Unfortunately, this program gives you no indication as to which of these numbers does what or goes to which engine or whatever. I had to look this stuff up online. But according to what I've read online, the European code for the 3-liter engine is this one, 7545671. Now we're going to click OK. Done. It'll ask for the VIN number. I already copied it, so I'm going to paste it in. Click OK. And then program. Now before you even start programming, it's a good idea to have a battery charger hooked up to the battery, because this is going to take about 10 or 15 minutes. And if the battery runs down while it's programming the computer, bad things are going to happen. Just a warning. Anyway, here we go. Like I said, it's going to take 10 or 15 minutes. So instead of making you sit here and watch this progress bar, I'm just going to shut off the camera and we will restart when it's done. And we are back. All right, looks like it's finished. Cool deal. Hey folks, I'm going to break into the video to give you some information about the Alpina transmission tune. Apparently it was a custom tune for the ZF 5HP transmission. My car has that transmission, and someone was able to reverse engineer the Alpina tune so it can be used in the E46 BMW. I'll put a link in the description if you want to check it out. Okay, so to tune the transmission, we're using the same software, the WinKFP. Once again, we're going to use comfort mode, which is still not comfortable. We're going to choose as a USB. This time the ECU family we're looking for is GD8604 because that's what my transmission controller is. And the ZB number I'm looking for is 7529032. Then click on Done. It's going to ask for a VIN number. Paste the VIN number in again. Maybe I should copy it first, huh? No! Now we're going to select Program. And off we go. This is also going to take another 10 or 15 minutes. So I'm going to get this started, shut off the camera, and we will come back when it's done. I don't know if you can hear it on camera, but the neighbor's dogs are going berserk. It's my opinion that there's no such thing as a bad dog, but there are bad dog owners. Anyway, okay, finally finished. It took about 10 minutes or so. And my neighbors are making a lot of noise. We'll be back in a minute. Let me cycle the key off and back on. Alright, no check engine light, no seatbelt light, no windshield washer light. That's a good start. The brake and the stability control, I'm assuming that's stability control. I'll have to deal with at a later date, but for now, I want to go drive the car and see how the tune's affected how it drives. So let's go do that. I've been having trouble recording my voice while driving, so this time I'm doing a voiceover. Anyway, let's talk about the engine and transmission tunes. I'm not sure why, but the engine tune improved the throttle response. Previously, the throttle response was pretty bad. But with the new tune, the throttle response is instant. That was a pleasant surprise. The transmission tune makes a bunch of subtle changes, but those changes add up. The shifts are more crisp. The upshift and downshifts are at a slightly higher RPM. Also, the torque converter lockup is more aggressive. Previously, it wouldn't lock up until around 55 miles an hour in 5th gear. With the new tune, it'll start locking in third gear at a much lower speed. And last but not least, the sport mode is gone. Normally the transmission goes into sport mode when you pull the shifter to the side. Then you have to bump it up or down to activate manual shifting. But with the Alpina tune, it goes directly into manual mode when you pull the shifter to the side. I like that. Plus, the normal operation of the Alpina tune is already like sport mode, so having a sport mode would be redundant. With the snappy throttle response and sporty shifting, it feels like a completely different car. Now I want to take it to the track and see if the new tune makes it any faster. The track is closed for the holidays, but when they reopen, we're going to put this new tune to the test. So stay tuned.